Hi, thanks for joining me. So I had a surprisingly good day today. I actually took a trip out and kind of, did some thrift store checking and checked out some GameStops and stuff like that. I found some interesting stuff. So I want to go over that today. This is going to be a pickups video, some other things I've been getting over the past few weeks. And I also wanted to follow up on the contest that I talked about just a few episodes back. I actually meant to follow up on that sooner. So we'll go ahead and pick some names out of a hat at the end of the video here. So for starters, right now the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, they aren't quite like clearancing them out, but they're definitely to the point where some of the things are getting heavily discounted. I can tell that GameStop in particular seems like they're wanting to free up some room on their shelves, and some things that are slow moving, just getting them out of the store. So I know I said that I didn't really want to, get many more PlayStation 3 games, but I can't help it. When you get into this period, I start going, oh, because so many of these things are worth, just checking out for a handful of dollars. One of those things, for me anyway, was Dark Void. I have not played this. I did not even rent it. Just one of those things that I wasn't into at the time when it came out, but it's always seemed pretty interesting. It's Capcom published. I'm not sure who developed this, but it's just kind of it seems like a third-person shooter with this, just kind of jetpack mechanic. What I like about some of these games is it seems like they're, from kind of an earlier period in Gen 7, so they kind of have I think still some of the sensibilities of games from like the PlayStation 2 era, and I don't know. I'm interested in checking this out. No idea if I would like that or not, but it was seriously like less than $5. Next up is another Time Crisis game. You guys know that I've been enjoying at least trying out some of the light gun style games that you can use with the Move. And I have Time Crisis 4. Apparently this comes with Time Crisis 4 and Dead Storm Pirates. I assume that Time Crisis Raising Storm is its own game, but I don't know if that maybe it's just the name of the pack of Time Crisis coming with Dead Storm Pirates. But at any rate, like I said, this was pretty cheap, so I didn't feel bad just going ahead and grabbing it. Yeah, looking on the back, it looks like Raising Storm is its own game. So I knew nothing about this. I didn't even know it existed. So very excited to pick that one up. Next is this is I believe a launch title for the PlayStation 3. I could be wrong about that, but I forget if I've played this. I think I'm getting it confused with the one for the Dreamcast, because there was also a Gundam game on the Dreamcast. Gundam has had some weird kind of game series that have come out over here. You've had stuff like Versus 2D Fighters and Warriors style games, kind of the Musou games. But this is one of those ones that's like what you would expect from a Gundam game, kind of a simulation of running around in these big mechs. That is Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. Again, I don't think I've played this one before. My friends did have a PlayStation 3, I think, on launch, and I'm sure I must have checked out some of the launch titles, but I don't remember if we checked this one out or not. But anyway, it was cheap, and it's anime based, so I figured, you know what, I'm going to give it a whirl. Sometimes I really like those games. I loved Armored Core 2, one of my favorite games of all time, honestly. Next up is another classic PlayStation franchise, and it's one I've never really been into, but again, for the price. And then I started looking at the the back and stuff, and I was like, oh man, for the price, I couldn't leave this sitting there. And that's it's Ridge Racer 7. As for me, I definitely really enjoy the more simulation style racing, kind of Gran Turismo. I've always really liked that series. Ridge Racer, it's a little more arcadey, and it's really drift oriented, and I'm not really a big fan of drift racing. But like I said, it for like $5 essentially. The graphics actually look quite good, and this actually might be a really fun game. I've got Gran Turismo 5 just sitting on my shelf here, and I haven't carved out the time to play it, so I figured maybe this might be fun in like smaller bursts, just kind of like some arcadey racing action. Next up, I was checking out the Xbox 360. It was very reluctantly that I picked one up, but there are some games on it. Excuse me, I am I just got hungry and thirsty here before making this video, so. PBR, this is the cheap beer of like hipsters and probably hobos or something, I don't know. It's pretty good though for cheap stuff. Lost Odyssey. I went ahead and picked this up. You know, so many people just say decent things about this, and I've seen my friend play this before, and it did seem pretty interesting. I mean, honestly, the kind of the lore in the world it seemed weird. It didn't really hook me when I saw it, but it does have these weird, like, what I would call genuine visual novel segments, where it really is like a novel, just with some pictures, and, you know, still the words are kind of evoking a lot of the visuals, but you do have some visuals to go by, and, you know, you just, interspersed with, like, this, you know, the 3D kind of RPG elements, I think it tells some of the backstory, and I just think that's a pretty novel way of approaching like the story in an RPG like this. So just curious, you know. Again, this was something that was cheap, so I'm taking some chances on some of these things. Next one is this one here, Samurai Shodown Sen. Now, I don't know if this is an Xbox 360 exclusive, but I've never seen this. I've never even seen this on the 360. I think this is the first time I've ever seen this game in person, and it was really cheap. So I know that Sega CD Universe has talked about this one before, and it looked pretty cool. I forget exactly what he said about it, but you know, it's Samurai Shodown, and out of the 2D fighters, I think, oh man, if I had to pick a favorite 2D fighter, I don't know if Samurai Shodown is like my favorite, but the thing I always say about 2D fighters is they have some of the best rosters of characters. You know, I think that Nakodoodoo game that I showed off on the Dreamcast is probably the Samurai Shodown game I'm the most interested in addition to the RPG, because it gives you a chance to like explore the characters some more in something that isn't just a versus fighter. But, you know, regardless, this seems like kind of a, you know, a modern 3D take on Samurai Shodown, and, you know, again, I probably wouldn't have wanted to pass this up for more money than this was, but it was cheap, so bonus on that. Next up, I went to some thrift stores, and I found something really cool. You know, sometimes this happens if you're diligent and you just swing by when you're out, and, you know, you're not going to find stuff sometimes, and sometimes you'll just run across something really cool. I got Star Ocean Till the End of Time. This has an old Electronics Boutique sticker on it, actually, for $17.99. I spent much less than that on it. It was $3. And, you know, I'm not a big Star Ocean fan. The only reason being that I think when I was in Japan, I think the first time, Star Ocean was really big. I think the sequel, I think there were 2 games on the PlayStation 1, and at some point I got to play one of them when it came out here. I'm positive that I rented it, and I just didn't like it. You know, it started off so cliched, and it was just really by the numbers, and I don't know, I was probably spoiled at the time, like playing Xenogears or something like that, which seemed fresh and interesting at the time, that Star Ocean just did not suck me in. But I remember my friend Andy was playing one of the Star Ocean games that looked really intriguing, and I've never tried to, you know, get into the series, any of the other installments. So I don't know if this is the one that he had been playing. If it is, I'm really curious to check it out. If it's not, you know, maybe it won't be my cup of tea. You know, worst case, I'll just resell this or something. But it was really cool to run across. I wasn't gonna leave it sitting there. I did pick up some anime, not a whole lot. And I've actually been watching a lot of anime on Crunchyroll again. That just kind of goes through in cycles for me. But I've dove into some really interesting titles, and I might talk about those in an anime I watched video. But one I did watch is Idol Fighter Su-Chi-Pai. Now, this one is interesting. Just gonna take a little sip here. One of my friends from Japan contacted me again, like about a year ago, and I feel really bad because I didn't get back to him. as much as I wanted. But at the time, I was trying to translate some stuff about this, and I didn't quite get it. So I was asking him about it, not the anime in particular, but just Su-Chi-Pai in general. And I don't know how I missed this, but you know, the word. Sorry if you're, you know, I don't know, if your parents are around or something, I'm going to talk about boobs, so just bear with me for a moment. So, like, the word for boobs in Japanese is oppai, and o gets attached to a lot of things as kind of an honorific. So you have things like onigiri, and it always throws me off because I think of that as the word, but actually kind of the word I think can be nigiri on its own, and just when you talk about it kind of like respectfully, you add the o. So I guess in showing the respect for boobs, they are oppai, but I don't know if that's actually the case in that word, but it's you know, the word, I'm sure that probably is a kanji or something that you just pronounce pi, and the, you know, the thing I was trying to figure out, it totally revolves around that. It's essentially like kind of a joke, I think, about like mahjong terminology and boobs, essentially. So you end up with this this series of mahjong video games called Idol Janshin Su-Chi-Pai, or Idol Fighter Su-Chi-Pai. And in the arcades, you know, I guess it was actually like, it was pretty like, you know, revealing in terms of, you know, when you get to the endings, like it was kind of a strip mahjong game that was actually out in the public arcades. And, you know, it's fun. I think some people recently were talking, the Happy Console Gamer was talking about how, you know, arcades kind of back in the 80s were really more, you know, kind of these seedier places where, you know, people would just sort of hang out, and it was more about, you know, kind of drinking, and, you know, it wasn't sort of like family environments. And you know, I don't know how it is or was in Japan at the time, but I just think it's an interesting thing to have had in the arcades. So anyway, around this time, I think you see a lot of like media mixes. So something will get popular, and, you know, just because it was a video game, the video game got popular, they'll make an anime episode, and there'll be a comic, and there'll be a, you know, a drama CD, and then, you know, that's just sort of how things would work. And so I think like a lot of these little one-shot, one-off animes were better understood in the context of, you know, what was going on around them at the time. So anyway, I don't want to talk too much about this. I'll probably go over it a little bit more in anime that I watched. But suffice to say, it was interesting. It says around here, you know, characters designed by Kenichi Sonoda, you know, Gunsmith Cat's Bubblegum Crisis, very, very, you know, well-known character designer and manga artist. So anyway, Su-Chi-Pai is one I've been wanted for a long time, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I was trying to remember what anime I had seen when I watched Demon City Shinjuku. I thought that it might be this one that I had seen, and I watched it, and I was like, no, that one wasn't it. I finally figured out what it was, and it's this one here. I haven't rewatched it, but it's Darkside Blues. I don't know if any of you out there have ever seen this. I just remember it was weird. I think people have said it's kind of unsatisfying, but I just really wanted to rewatch this, and I don't think this was very expensive, so I just picked it up online. You can see it's still sealed. But a really weird and interesting thing about this, on the back, it actually cites Central Park Media and ADV Films are listed on here. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm wondering if maybe one of them did the an initial release and did a dub for it or something, and then maybe the other one picked it up and, you know, used the dub or maybe the translation that the original people did, and had to credit them both. It's just very odd, but anyway, Darkside Blues. I was very happy to have figured out what that series or that show was. And a few more modern things here, some games from here out. We have Concepcion 2, Children of the Seven Stars. This is one that, you know, it was so funny on the Vita. I was just waiting and waiting for some more really cool Japanese developed games to come out, and all of a sudden it was like a flood, and I couldn't keep up with it, and I'm still kind of, you know, working on that backlog. But this one I just decided, you know, I think it's time. I don't want to, you know, forget about it. I mean, I'm sure that's not going to happen, but I just decided to pick these up. So I got this one. I actually picked it up used. You know, I feel a little bit bad about that because I want to really support, you know, all of these kind of releases new on the Vita. But you know, I feel like this boat had just sort of sailed, so I picked that up, and I also grabbed Freedom Wars. Now, Freedom Wars was so interesting for me because I feel like there's so many Japanese developed games on the Vita that it seems like people are just kind of ignoring. And then this came along, and even friends that I have that you know, that aren't really into Japanese developed games on the Vita in particular, but you know, maybe own the Vita or own a Vita TV, like picked this game up, and I was like, what is it about Freedom Wars that they really wanted to pick up more than, like, I don't know, I mean, just anything else, like Virtue's Last Reward, or Valhalla Knights, or Danganronpa, or the Neptunia games, or Sorcery Saga, or, you know, just any of this stuff. And I still don't really know. If you guys have you know, an idea about that, I guess all I can think of is that maybe when you look at the gameplay, like, it seems sort of Phantasy Star Online-ish or something. I still feel sort of like I don't understand what a Monster Hunter sort of game is. I know what Phantasy Star Online was, and I really liked that. But I feel like this whole genre of games kind of like cropped up in Japan that I don't understand. So the main reason that I got this, to make a long story short, is I watched one of my friends play it, and I loved the visual style of it and the world setting. Everyone, you know, that played this, I know Crack Lotus, and I'm probably gonna get it wrong. He was playing it with somebody else that I know on YouTube. I almost want to say Ultimate Floyd, but I don't remember who it was. But it was, suffice to say, you know, he said the same things about this, that it has this really intriguing world. And when I watched my friend play it, I was like, oh, it does. And once I saw it, I wanted to get it, and also he wants to play it with me a little bit. So anyway, that's why I picked this one up, and you know, interested to check that one out. Yeah, so this snuck up on me, and I actually just excuse me. I just ran out and picked it up the day that it was released, because I was like, oh man, everyone's playing this, and I gotta take a look. Now, it was funny because I was in the middle of trying to get my platinum on what's the game, Oculus Trip, and I finally got the platinum for it. And so this was kind of my motivation to get that, and that is Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Now, you know, I fully intended to get this game on launch. I just didn't bother pre-ordering it. So, like I said, when it came out, I was like, oh, let's grab that. And I did play it a little bit. I just fired up Type 0 for, you know, whatever, an hour or something while I was downloading the demo for 15. And then I checked out 15 for a few minutes. But really, I just didn't play this a whole lot. So I'm planning to get back to this really soon. Honestly, for whatever reason, I think I kind of tried out both of those things, and like neither of them really hit me over the head as something where I was like, wow, this is really great. Honestly, I think Final Fantasy 15, what I've seen of it in the demo so far, I'm kind of disappointed in. When I watched some people play it, it reminded me of like Dragon's Dogma, which is a pretty intriguing game, and I really did enjoy it once I got into it. But playing it, I need to just give it another shot. But anyway, suffice to say, I tried out this game, which I actually don't own yet, but this is amazing. I got sucked into this, you know, just so completely, and I have been loving playing this game. It is really great. I did not expect to like this nearly as much as I do. I'm going to do a full review on this and tell you guys all of my impressions about it, so I will save that for then. But suffice to say, I cannot tear myself away from this game to actually play more of Final Fantasy Type 0 HD or the Final Fantasy 15 demo. So when I'm finished with this game, I will probably go back and play some of that, and, you know, maybe get into some of these other games that I want to play. So that's pretty much it. Those are my pickups this time. Let's go ahead and do the contest here. I wanted to say just a huge thank you to everybody that responded to my survey in that video. Really helpful information, and I hope that it contributes to something that maybe you guys get excited about too. I'm definitely very excited about it, and I think that some of the answers to those questions were a little surprising for me and gave me some good information in terms of, I'm sure you guys can tell, I guess more than considering really getting an online store going, and it's sort of dealing in some kind of specialty merchandise, video game related. So it was interesting to see that I guess some things I didn't really expect were stuff like people seem to be pretty interested in collecting loose card games, which I wasn't really expecting. There's definitely, I think, a focus on quality of games, which I think is great. Also things like wanting to see the pictures of the actual item. I think that's one of the reasons, like, overwhelmingly people were looking at eBay as the place to go, because you can see the actual thing. And I think that's something that's especially hard with North American retailers, because I think so many people don't take the condition of games seriously, and it's just all over the place in terms of, some people say, hey, this is like new, and it's like new, and some people say it's like new and it's a piece of crap. So so much good information in there. I really appreciate it. I also want to just give a particular thank you to people who answered the questions just to give their feedback and to help me out, and elected not to participate in the contest for a variety of reasons. Then that's certainly nothing against people who did participate in the contest. That was my intention, and that was what you were supposed to do, so thank you for doing that. But people like, I'm sure I will forget names, but X-Corn Muffin X, oh gosh, Odecon, I think, passed, Sporadic Spacebar, oh, I'm not going to remember everyone. There were like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, there were quite a number of people that passed on the contest. So anyway, thank you so much for answering the questions regardless of that. So I have my my Fun Spot mug here, and I'm going to pick out somebody to win the contest. So let's see what we get. I was going to do this all fancy and technology-like, but anyway, suffice to say, that didn't happen. So, okay, very cool. So we have a MyZenium. If I'm messing up your YouTube handle, I apologize. And you are getting Silent Hill 3. So, so congratulations. Thank you so much for participating and for winning this game. Now, I do have to let you know, this is so interesting here. I don't know if you can see, like, right here, I didn't even notice this. I thought it was part of the cover art or something, but there's like some little, there's like a splotch or like a stain or something on here, and it, I just think it's so Silent Hill-like, really, to have like a copy of Silent Hill 3 with some sort of like mysterious stain on it. I don't know, maybe I'm passing something on to you here that you're getting more than you bargained for in terms of this copy of Silent Hill 3, but I do not know what that is, so I apologize. But it's not going to affect the gameplay at all, and the back is fine. You may be able to just get this off with a little like damp cloth or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I was gonna say I wouldn't be afraid of it, but maybe you should be. So anyway, I think it's kind of appropriate in this instance, and I will be sending this to you. I'll PM you, but feel free to PM me with your address, and wherever you are, wherever you live, I will put this in the mail and get it out to you. So big congratulations to, again, if I'm screwing up your name, MyZenium, and to everybody who participated in the contest. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me again for more anime and video game related videos. One final thing here. I almost forgot the most intriguing pickup here, so to speak, is this. The Final Fantasy Type 0 HD Standee from, this was from GameStop. Like I said when I started, I was having the most interesting day today. Everybody seemed to be, all smiles, and I found so much cool stuff when I was roaming around. And I was talking to the manager at GameStop, and I just happened to be talking about Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, and I was asking about, if they had better boxes for some of the games and stuff, and they're like, so you're a collector, huh? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, if you want, you can take that Final Fantasy Standee. They're like, I have somebody else that works here that might want it, but, we need to get rid of it today, and you're welcome to take it. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, go for it. So here it is. I don't think I've ever talked about Standees. I really don't have many or any, except for one other, and it happens to be a Final Fantasy one. I actually picked it up when I was working retail, when Final Fantasy VIII was out. So maybe I'll show that one off sometime. But regardless, I just thought it was really cool that they just offered this to me out of the blue. So yay! Yeah, that's it for my pickups.